Ciao, friends, and welcome to Simple Italian Cooking. My name is Liz, and I'm so happy you're here for another video for a really easy Italian recipe. Today, we are going to do a nice little side dish that you can use for a variety of meals. You can use it uh, to go with chicken dishes, you can use it to go with beef dishes, um, all sorts of things. And we're using string beans. And I don't normally cook with string beans. They're usually not my favorite because I really love the Italian, flat Roma beans. But I really like this dish. It is a dish that I grew up with, very similar to it. And I think there's different variations, and you may be familiar with it. So let me know in the comments if you have a similar recipe. So with this recipe, we're taking the green beans, and I have a bunch here that are frozen. And you can use any type of green bean. You can use them fresh from the garden. You can use the kind that you buy that are pre-chopped and in the frozen section, totally fine. But let me just go over what the different ingredients are that you need. So what you need is you need a can of diced tomatoes. Now, the can that I happen to have available is a no salt added, so I'm going to be making sure I add some salt to this. But I do like that. So we're going to be using this. We're also going to be using onion. But onion, we're just going to do a little bit. You don't even have to use the onion, but I'm going to use it today. Salt, pepper, and some olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and of course our garlic. So quantities are adjustable. Basically what we're doing is creating a little Italian tomato sauce that we're going to be putting the beans in and then cooking together. So very, very simple, and it's just a nice Italian dish. So in terms of the size of green beans, mine happen to be this length. I'm not going to go through and bother chopping them up. I like them long, but you can certainly use the kind that are nice, short, and chopped, like where they're like an inch. That's fine too. So while this is getting ready, it's almost at a boil. We're just going to go ahead and prep our other ingredients. So let's go ahead and chop the garlic. What you want to do is chop it so that it's in little tiny pieces. You can mince it if you want. That's fine since we're using it in a sauce. I'm just going to go ahead and chop mine just really fine. By the way, if you enjoy learning about easy Italian recipes or you're just a fan of Italian food, please make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel so that we can keep bringing this type of content to you and help make cooking in the kitchen a little easier for you. Okay, our garlic is chopped, so we're just going to go ahead and just put that aside. Next, let's go ahead and prep the onion. I'm not going to use this whole onion. This is a small onion, and I just don't even need just the small onion. So what I'm going to do is probably just do about a quarter of it. I just want to get some of that onion flavor in there. I'm not doing a big sauce, so I'm not worrying about it. And I'm just cutting the onion to be, again, small diced pieces. We're making a quick sauce, so we don't want any big pieces or big chunks that are going to take forever to cook through. So just keep it small. And again, if you don't want to use the onion, you don't have to. I just think it'll add a little more depth. Okay, the water is boiling, so we're going to go ahead and add in. I'm using about 7 ounces of string beans. Quantities can vary if you want the full recipe, like for 4 to 6 people. Go ahead and check out my link below. And you'll get that off of my website. Speaking of my website, if you enjoy Italian cooking or Italian recipes and want to have it delivered to your inbox, I send out recipes every week. So feel free to sign up for my newsletter and be a part of the community. All right, so I'm just going to let this boil here. I'm going to bring it up to a boil. I'm going to let it boil for about 2 minutes. That's all it needs for right now because we're going to continue cooking them later. Okay, so it's been about 2 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and drain these and then put them aside. So I'm using my silicone strainer, which you can use for more than just pasta. In this case, I'm using it to strain the green beans. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a little bit of sauce. And very, very easy to do. So heat your pan. You can use any type of pan. I'm using this cast iron one just because it has the sides and just kind of felt like doing that instead of my regular stainless steel pan, but that's fine too if that's all you have or want to use that. And the first thing we're going to do is heat up the olive oil. So over a medium heat, we're going to go ahead and add in the olive oil. Okay, and we're doing about a tablespoon, maybe about a tablespoon is good. I think I did a little bit more than that, but that's okay. And I'm going to go ahead and open the can of tomatoes at this point. We do want to use it with the juices. You can use fresh tomatoes for this as well. It doesn't have to be canned. So if you have a bunch of fresh tomatoes, yeah, use that. That's even better. All right, and I'm using a Hamilton Beach can opener, which I really like because it cuts along the side of the can, not on top. So it gives it a really nice clean cut, and I never have to worry about the metal shards going in there, metal flakes or anything like that. It just gives it a nice, been using this one for years, so I thought I'd tell you about it. Okay, so this is nice and heated, and I'm just going to go ahead and add the garlic in and just let that saute for about a minute or two until it can really start getting fragrant. You want to make sure that you don't overcook or burn the garlic. Okay, so that's sizzling, that's good. And I'm going to go ahead and add the onion in now. And again, the onion is optional, but I'm going to let that onion cook for about 5 minutes before I add in the tomatoes. So I really want to make sure that these onions are not crunchy. So I really want to cook them down. And I'm just going to let that sit there, and I'll be back in a minute. So one thing, don't forget, that we're looking for when you know the onion is good to go is that we want it to be slightly translucent. So it doesn't mean you're going to see through it fully, but you're going to see a difference, that it's not as dark and solid of a white color. Okay, so I think this is good to go. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add in my tomatoes with the juices. We're going to cook it down anyway. We're making a little sauce. Just go ahead and kind of blend it all together. Okay, so one last thing is to just add in some of the salt and a dash of black pepper, and then we're going to let it cook on high for about 15 minutes. You can go medium high, but we want that higher temperature because we want to cook it down quickly for this particular recipe. So let's go ahead and let it do its thing. And as it's cooking down, if you're using the diced tomatoes, feel free to go ahead and squash some of the chunks of tomato. And you don't have to use diced tomatoes. You can use crushed tomatoes, but we are trying to somewhat mimic that, fresh tomatoes, and you want some of the chunks in there, but I don't like it just all chunks. This is looking really good. It smells delicious. Okay, so I just added in the green beans, and what a great side dish. It just looks so beautiful. So one thing that we're going to look for is we're going to cook this for about another 5 minutes, okay? That's just going to help merge all the flavors, reheat the beans, all that. We don't want the beans necessarily to be mushy. So, but that's sometimes kind of hard to, you want it tender, but it's hard to get sometimes when you're dealing with frozen green beans. So if they get a little too soft, don't worry about it. It's still going to taste great. I love it when it's just a little tender, kind of fork tender. But honestly, the flavors are just going to go great together. So what a wonderful dish. Okay, so serving time. So when serving this, serve with a spoon. You want to get those juices in. And I'll tell you what would go really, really well with this too, especially if you're just doing this kind of as a lunch or not like a big meal type thing. Serve it with some Italian artisan bread. Dip it in the sauce. So good. All right, let's taste it. And notice that we're not even using any cheese on this. So not every Italian dish is about Romano cheese, Parmesan cheese, mozzarella cheese. Sometimes it's just vegetables. So delicious. And very hot. What a great flavor. The only thing that would make this even better is if the beans were actually picked from a backyard garden. Other than that, I know you're going to love this recipe. It is just a classic Italian recipe. So easy to make. And I really hope you try it. Let me know in the comments below. Lots of different other things you can do with this. You could add in maybe a little bit of bacon. That would be good. And, you can add in cheese if you want. You could add in some basil if you wanted. If you had some fresh basil, you could add a little bit of that in too. So you could add in maybe a little bit of red onion. That would be good too. So give it a try. Let me know what you think. And don't forget to like and subscribe and sign up for our newsletter too. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy. Grazie. Ciao.